Welcome
And
and
welcome
Merry Creama.
or happy holidays
Yeah,
or
sorry.
happy
Happy
everything.
Christmas Hanukkah Kwanzaa.
Exactly.
Happy Winter
Whatever.
Solstice.
Hmm.
Whatever. If
Yep.
you don't observe any of those, that's fine too.
Happy
We're
Friday
here to
then.
Happy Friday. We're here to spook ya,
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
babies.
Exactly.
Um, and it's been a while, so we're excited to be chatting with y'all again. I'm
Yeah.
Olivia,
And I'm Amy. And
and
this
this
is
is Girls
Girls
Gone
Gone Spooky.
Spooky with the claps. Let's go, Amy.
You gotta do
Um,
it
you gotta do
sometimes.
it.
And
Okay,
do it
well, I'm
right next to the
right next to the
microphone.
microphone.
That's
Yes, give
perfect.
it, just do it with a little gusto, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um, okay, well, we feel like this is the perfect time to be doing scary stories because this is like a long-standing tradition back from primarily like Victorian England, to sit around, particularly on Christmas Eve, but in general during the end of year holidays, and tell ghost stories. And it's something that a lot of historians have said has just like completely disappeared in the last like century or so. Um, but just to kind of like kick us off, the reasons like why this even became kind of a cozy holiday thing, um it really stems from the fact that this is like the darkest, spookiest time of year. And if you think about like how witches look at this time of year, it is very much like spooky season doesn't end with Halloween, it starts with Halloween. Like these are the darkest nights of the year. Even during the day it's dark because it's
Yeah.
overcast and rainy or snowy depending on where you live. And so the precise origin of telling ghost stories during this time of year is unknown, largely because it began as an oral tradition without any written records, which is so interesting to think of, just like passing these stories down literally through sessions like this.
Yeah.
But history.com did an article about Christmas traditions and ghost stories as a part of that. And a folklorist named Sarah Cleto, who specializes in British lit and co founded the Carterhoff School of Folklore and the Fantastic, says that the season around the winter solstice has always been one of transition and change. Um, she says, Nora.
So sorry about that.
She says, for a very, very, very long time, the season has provoked oral stories about spooky things in many different countries and cultures all over the world. Furthermore, spooky storytelling also gave people something to do during long, dark evenings before electricity, which I hadn't even really thought of until reading
Yeah.
this.
That's a good
She
point.
says the long midwinter nights meant folks had to stop working early and they spent their leisure hours huddled close to the fire, says Tara Moore, an assistant professor of English at Elizabethtown College. Plus, you didn't need to be literate to retell the local ghost story.
True.
So there's a lot more in terms of like the impact of the Industrial Revolution on this kind of like cultural behavior, different audiences within this time. But what they say too is like the popularity of Victorian Christmas ghost stories really transcended socioeconomic status. So they were available to read in really cheap publications as well as expensive Christmas annuals that middle and upper class ladies would show off on coffee tables. So there's just like a lot. It's just like kind of a wholesome sort of thing. And then, of course, there was the Christmas Carol, which is what this article calls the Charles Dickens effect, which really just popularized this activity even more. Um, they also call out that like American Christmas traditions are not spooky. They're like sticky, syrupy, sweet, compared to the British equivalent, at least like comparing it back to the Victorian times, which I think is kind of true everywhere. But um, just thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit about like why people tell ghost stories around this time too, not just during Halloween, but in the time after as well.
Yeah.
Hee hee.
It makes perfect sense that we would do that
Yeah.
in the dead of winter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yep.
And I
Okay.
never think about like not having electricity either. I was like, oh,
I know.
yep. What else you gonna do?
Yeah, true. And the not being literate part. That's like,
Totally.
it's so nice to have an oral tradition when you can't
100%.
read a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, love
I
it.
love it.
And that's perfect because my story is one of those Victorian era
Yay.
stories. It was actually commissioned by Charles Dickens himself for one of his
Whoa.
catalogs that you were talking
Oh,
about.
cool.
So, yeah, this one was written by Elizabeth Gaskell or Gaskell. I'm guessing Gaskell.
Mm.
Um, it's called The Old Nurse's Story. And I
Mm.
think it's from 1852, although I did not write that
Oh
down.
my God. So
So,
old.
yeah, I had to do a lot of paraphrasing of this. And it's the sections that I am going to read are very clearly not something that I wrote. You can tell
Okay.
the language is different. So,
Yeah.
we will get started. So, the story opens with the narrator. Her name is Hester. She is telling
Strong start.
I know.
Really strong start.
I know. Like, what
Hester.
more Victorian name
Right.
is there than Hester? So she's seemingly telling this story to some children that are like in her charge because she's their nanny, essentially. And she says, "You know, my dears, that your mother was an orphan and an only child. And I dare say you have heard that your grandfather was a clergyman up in Westmoreland, where I come from. I was just a girl in the village school when one day your grandmother came in to ask the mistress if there was any scholar there who would do for a nursemaid. And mighty proud I was, I can tell you, when the mistress called me up and spoke to my being a good girl at my needle and a steady, honest girl, and one whose parents were very respectable, though they might be poor. I thought I should like nothing better than to serve the pretty young lady who was blushing as deep as I was, as she spoke of the coming baby and what I should have to do with it. However, I see you don't care so much for this part of my story as for what you think is to come, so I'll tell you at once. I was engaged and settled at the parsonage before Miss Rosamond, that was the baby who is now your mother, was born." I wrote that. Just kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. That was not me.
You could just claim it and I'll buy it.
Oh my gosh, these dogs. Sorry if that's so loud.
It's
It
fine.
will pass.
It will pass, everyone.
It will pass. They are in a
Tell
new
Dave to
environment.
herd the beasts.
I will text him. It might be dinner time. But
No, probably.
anyway. So, baby is born. Miss Rosamond is her name. Hester and everybody loves this baby. But tragically, both of Rosamond's parents pass away from a fever when she's like 4 or 5 years old. And Rosamond's mother asks Hester, while she's on her deathbed, to never leave Rosamond's side. And she said something so sweet. She wrote, "But even if she had never spoken a word, I would have gone with the little child to the end of the world." Which is so cute. So she loves her Rosamond.
So sweet.
But not long after the death of the parents, the executors of the will come to settle the affairs. And so Rosamond's mother's cousin, his name is Lord Furnival, he comes and says...
Really thought you were going to say Lord Farquaad.
Close
Lord
enough.
Farquaad.
We could edit that in for our purposes. Lord Farquaad.
I'll just change the transcription in the notes to say Lord Farquaad.
Perfect. It's close enough.
Yeah.
So Lord Furnival Farquaad, he comes and says, "You're going to come live at Furnival Manor House." But Hester is like, she's not happy to learn that this guy, Lord Furnival, doesn't even live there. But the person that lives in this house is one of their like ancient great aunts that lives out there alone with just a few staff members. Yeah. So
Mm.
she's like, man, I guess we're going to have to go to this like totally unfamiliar place. But they don't really have a choice because Rosamond is now Lord Furnival's ward, essentially.
Mm.
So they make this long journey, and she describes it as we had left all signs of a town or even a village, and were then inside the gates of a large wild park, not like the parks here in the north, but with rocks, and the noise of running water and gnarled thorn trees, and old oaks all white and peeled with age. The road went up about 2 miles, and then we saw a great and stately house, with many trees close around it, so close that in some places their branches dragged against the walls when the wind blew, and some hung broken down, for no one seemed to take much charge of the place to lop the wood or keep the moss-covered carriageway in order. When we drove up to the great front entrance and went into the hall, I thought we should be lost. It was so large and vast and grand. There was a chandelier, all of bronze, hung down from the middle of the ceiling, and I had never seen one before, and looked at it all in amaze. Then, at one end of the hall was a great fireplace, as large as the sides of the houses in my country, with massy andirons. What is that? I should have looked that up before. Andirons. And andirons is all one word.
Oh, they're like things that well, andirons are the things that like hold the logs in the fireplace.
Okay. That makes sense.
Don't know what massy ones are, but
must be like high mass, like heavy or massive.
Yeah, maybe.
Something.
Oh, I see. I was thinking like capital M, massy.
Oh, no. It was lowercase. But
okay.
It also says, because it says massy andirons and dogs to hold the wood. So there's
Excuse
something
me?
holding the wood.
Yeah, Jesus. Hopefully not
have
living dogs. Yeah.
No, definitely
Jesus.
not. Okay, to hold the wood, and by it were heavy old-fashioned sofas. At the opposite end of the hall, to the left as you went in on the western side, was an organ, and this is important, built into the wall, and so large that it filled up the best part of that end. Beyond it, on the same side, was a door, and opposite on each side of the fireplace were also doors leading to the east front. But those I never went through as long as I stayed in the house, so I can't tell you what lay beyond. After these initial impressions of the house, they meet Miss Furnival, who's the old lady that lives there.
Oh.
She says she's stern, tall, thin, with a face full of fine wrinkles. And they also meet...
Never describe me like that.
I know. Even if I do have fine wrinkles, don't talk about me that way.
Don't talk about it. Just don't mention it.
Yes. Just leave it alone. So they meet her. They also meet Mrs. Stark, who is Miss Furnival's maid that has been working with her since they were teenagers. There's also Mr. Henry, who's the butler. And also Dorothy, who is
what a cast of characters. Jesus.
Maid. I know. I can picture this as like a play also.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and they're all, I can see them like kind of spooky. I think Dorothy is the one that's not, because she's younger, normal seeming. So she's kind, and they're like happy to get out of this room with all these older people who are like Hawkeyes on them. And
like Hawkeyes?
Yeah, Hawkeyes onto them. So they become friends with Dorothy, and also Hester finds the house to be really strange. She says it's like the walls are whispering and that she's being watched.
Oh, okay. Hate that for her.
Spooky. No. But Rosamond manages to bring great joy into the house. She runs around. She opens doors that haven't been opened in years, which, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe don't do that, Rosamond.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't care. So, by now, it's winter. The days are getting shorter, and weird things start to happen. So Hester starts to hear music in the house, and she's certain that it's coming from the organ out in the hallway. But all of the people living in the house are like gaslighting her, basically saying,
Oh,
no,
great.
it's not not the organ. It can't be played. It's just the trees that are like against the window, or maybe a draft that blows in and like hits the pipes of the organ, so it makes a sound. But she's like, I'm not convinced. So she looks at the organ. She finds that all the inner parts of it are indeed broken to bits. So it can't be played. But she's still like, I'm very sure that this is organ music I'm hearing. But it's not hurting anybody, so she moves on.
Okay.
The winter continues on, gets frigid cold. One day, Hester wants to go to church with her friend, so she leaves Rosamond with Dorothy. But when she comes back, she can't find either Dorothy or Rosamond. And Mrs. Stark, who's just sitting in the living room, was like, oh, I saw Rosamond run off, I thought, to find Dorothy over an hour ago. Like, ran outside in the frigid cold.
Oh, God.
So she is frantically searching for them both. Eventually does find Dorothy, but still no Rosamond, until she finds a set of footprints in the snow outside. So she runs to follow them, and on her path eventually meets a shepherd who's carrying a pale and freezing Rosamond. Thankfully, she's still alive.
Okay.
So they warm her up, and when she's reprimanding her, like, why did you go out there? She said it's because there was a little girl who came to the window and beckoned me to come play outside.
Wait, and how old is Rosamond supposed to be now?
She's like 5. So she's still a little gal.
Yeah, okay. Little gal.
Yeah, little gal. So she wanted to play. But Hester is like, Rosamond, don't lie to me, because the reason I found you is by following your footprints, and there's only one set of footprints in the snow. And if there was another girl, I would have seen it. But Rosamond insists that it's true. So they kind of just move on. I know.
Don't like that.
I agree. So Rosamond goes to bed, and Hester decides to go down and tell Miss Furnival and Mrs. Stark what happened. And they both have crazy reactions. They say,
oh, God.
Oh, heaven forgive, have mercy, Hester. Keep her from that child. It will lure her to her death. That evil child. Tell her it is a wicked, naughty child.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Then Mrs. Stark hurried me out of the room, where indeed I was glad enough to go. But Miss Furnival kept shrieking out, Oh, have mercy, wilt thou never forgive? It is many a long year ago. So interesting.
Okay. Mystery
life goes on. I know, something's up with these two.
Yeah.
So Hester becomes even more protective of Rosamond now, and never leaves her. And one day they're doing their schoolwork, and Rosamond suddenly is pointing out the window, and she's like, there's the little girl. And so Hester looks out, she sees her, and so she sees the girl too, which is interesting. The little girl now is a little bit, or the phantom girl, I guess we could call her, is getting more aggressive, like she's beating on the window. But then she realizes, I can't hear anything. Like, I see her banging on the walls, but I can't hear anything.
There's no sound.
Yeah. And Miss Rosamond is, like, very affected by this. She's wailing, crying. She wants to go out. It's like she can hear this child talking to her, saying, she's, like, apologizing to her. I can't come help you, kind of thing. So it's getting weird. So Hester is like, we are going to leave. She tells Dorothy, let's get out of here. But Dorothy says, no, you can't. And here's the truth about what's going on.
Oh, so. God. No, you can't is crazy.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't hold back. So she says that Miss Furnival, who's the current old lady with wrinkles, she's one of two daughters of the original Lord Furnival. Her name is Grace, and she had a sister named Maud. So
Maud.
I know. All these names are just wonderful.
So good.
So Lord Furnival, Maud and Grace's father, he was monstrously proud and cruel. The one thing he loved in life was music. So he once hired a gifted musician to stay at the manor. And both of his teenage daughters fell in love with the man, of course.
Duh. Everybody loves a musician.
Yeah.
Don't have to be modern day to love a musician.
No. It's always been a draw. So, let's see. He secretly married Miss Maud, the elder, and they had a child, a little girl who they hid at a nearby farm because they didn't want the family to know. So
this isn't gonna go well.
I know. There was a lot of jealousy between the two sisters because Grace also loved this man.
Right.
And she did know about the secret child. But she became so jealous and like heartbroken by the situation that she told their dad.
Of course she did. Bitch.
I know,
you
of course.
Crotchety bitch.
Of course. No wonder you have so many wrinkles. You don't age well when you're a backstabber.
A crone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Backstabbing crone.
Yeah. So she tells the dad, on one snowy night, Lord Furnival goes out in a rage. He takes Maud and her daughter out into the frozen night and leaves them there. Then the next day, the shepherds found the child dead from the cold with a wound on her shoulder. And they found Miss Maud acting insane, rocking the corpse beneath the holly trees, is what it says. And I'm laughing because it's uncomfortable and sad.
Oh my God.
So intense.
Way to go, Grace.
Yep, I know. So now Miss Grace, we understand, is like living in guilt and despair. And so I'm just going to read the last section here. We get to New Year's Day. Winter is finally coming to a close, but they hear 3 bells coming from the west drawing room, which is where Miss Furnival hangs out. Miss Furnival is having some sort of episode. She's like, I hear voices, I hear screams, I hear my father's voice. She's kind of uncontrollable. Hester and Rosamond are there together watching this happen, and eventually they start to hear the screams too.
Oh.
So we'll just
Ooh, that gave me chills. That's creepy.
I know. We'll read this from here. So Rosamond wakes up with a sudden start. My little girl is crying. Oh, how she's crying. And she tried to get up and go to... Oh, that's the other thing. They're hearing screams, and the phantom girl is back.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to go to her. Mrs. Stark looked at me and I at her, but we dared not speak. Suddenly, Miss Furnival went towards the door out into the anteroom, I guess the foyer, through the west lobby, and opened the door into the great hall. Mrs. Stark followed, and I, not to be left, though my heart almost stopping beating for fear. I wrapped my darling in my tight arms and went out with them. In the hall, the screams were louder than ever. They sounded to come from the east wing, nearer and nearer, close on the other side of the locked-up doors. Then I noticed that the great bronze chandelier seemed all alight, though the hall was dim, and that a fire was blazing in the vast hearth place, though it gave no heat, and I shuddered with terror, and folded my darling closer to me. But as I did so, the east door shook, and she, suddenly struggling to get free from me, cried, Hester, I must go. My little girl is there. I hear her. She's coming. Hester, I must go. I held her tight with all my strength. With a set will, I held her. If I had died, my hands would have grasped her still. I was so resolved in my mind. Miss Furnival stood listening and paid no regard to my darling, who had got down to the ground, and whom I, upon my knees now, was holding with both my arms clasped round her neck. She's still striving and crying to get free. "Oh, Hester, Hester," cried Miss Rosamond, "it's the lady below the holly trees, and my little girl is with her. I feel them, I must go." Again, she was almost convulsed by her efforts to get away, but I held her tighter and tighter, till I feared I should do her a hurt. But rather that than let her go towards those terrible phantoms. They passed along toward the great hall, where the winds howled and ravened for their prey. But before they reached that, the lady turned, and I could see that she defied the old man with a fierce and proud defiance. So now an old man phantom has showed up as well. And Miss Rosamond was torn as by a power stronger than mine, and writhed in my arms and sobbed, for by this time the poor darling was growing faint. "They want me to go with them on the fells. They are drawing me to them. Oh, my little girl. I would come, but cruel, wicked Hester holds me very tight." But then when she saw the uplifted crutch, she swooned away, and I thanked God for it. Just at this moment, when the tall old man, his hair streaming as in the blast of a furnace, was going to strike the little shrinking child, Miss Furnivall, the old woman by my side cried out, "Oh, Father, Father, spare the innocent child." But just then we all saw, another phantom shape itself, and grow clear out of the blue and misty light that filled the hall. We had not seen her till now, for it was another lady who stood by the old man, with a look of relentless hate and triumphant scorn. That figure was very beautiful to look upon, with a soft white hat drawn over the proud brows and a red and curling lip. It was dressed in an open robe of blue satin. I had seen that figure before. It was the likeness of Miss Furnivall in her youth, and the terrible phantoms moved on, regardless of old Miss Furnivall's wild entreaty. And the uplifted crutch fell on the right shoulder of the little child, and the younger sister looked on, stony and deadly serene. But at that moment the dim lights and the fire that gave no heat went out of themselves, and Miss Furnivall lay at our feet, stricken down by the palsy death. Stricken.
So she watched while her dad did it.
Mm-hmm. And we
evil.
I know. Yep.
Plot twist.
Yeah. Now she's been stricken down. Yes, she was carried to her bed that night, never to rise again. She lay with her face to the wall, muttering low, but muttering always, "Alas, alas, what is done in youth can never be undone in age. What is done in youth can never be undone in age." And that's it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's depressing.
A family drama.
I know. Not only did the dad leave them out in the snow, but he also, he's the cause of her injury on the shoulder.
And the sister just stood by.
Yes. So, there are phantoms up in that Furnivall Manor. Farquaad.
Hell yeah. Farquaad Manor, dude. Mm-hmm. Spooky.
So, it is spooky. It's not like the scariest story we've ever read, obviously. But I think it's cool that that's like what, if you picture a Victorian family telling that around the fire.
Yeah. 100%.
Interesting.
Spooky.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay, well, I have one in a very similar vein. And it was written in 1983, but it's a gothic horror novel, and it has a super similar vibe. It's called The Woman in Black, and it was written in 1983 by Susan Hill, about a mysterious specter that haunts a small English town. There's a TV show based on it, which was produced in 1989, with the screenplay by Nigel Neal, and then the most probably recognizable version of it would be 2012. There was a film adaptation starring Daniel Radcliffe. And I feel like it was one of the most like recognizable things he did, other than that like Aquarius or whatever that one was called, where he's like fully nude or whatever. I never saw it. I never saw this either, but it's a play as well. And it is Woman in Black is incredible on stage. And I will talk through like the synopsis of it, and including a huge plot twist at the end that I am going to spoil. So I will give a heads up before I spoil it, but I'm going to spoil it at the end. So Perfect. Without like reading you the full story. So if you plan to go see it and you don't want to have it be ruined, then I will tell you when to skip forward. So the story was actually inspired by Henry James' The Turn of the Screw. And there's a particular description of the drowned governess in that, and I will quote, a figure of quite as unmistakable horror and evil, a woman in black, pale and dreadful, with such an air also, and such a face, on the other side of the lake. So keep in mind that anytime we're talking about the woman black, it is like this like wasted hag, like a witch, but she's done up quite well. So like is almost in like almost like a nun's habit, but scary, like old hag kind of clothing. So keep that in mind. Like when she comes up, she's fucking scary. And how they do it on stage is just incredible. So, okay. As a content warning, this novel contains themes around child loss. So be warned. Okay. While enjoying Christmas Eve with his family, Arthur Kip's stepchildren remind him of his past as they take turns telling ghost stories. Haunted by a memory, Kipps decides to write about his experience in a small town in the English countryside. However, he wishes for no one to read his story until after his death. And that part's important. Okay. In his early 20s, Kipps works as a solicitor under his employer, Mr. Bentley. He's engaged to a woman named Stella and has plans to take on more responsibilities in his career. Being tasked to attend a funeral for one of their clients, Kipps leaves London to settle the estate of Mrs. Alice Drablow, hoping to prove that he can take on more work for Mr. Bentley in his old age. Kipps heads to Crithen Gifford, where he will go to Mrs. Drablow's estate, Eel Marsh House, to sort her personal and legal documents before the property is sold. Kipps, who holds a strong distaste for the fog in London, is excited to head to the countryside. On the train, he meets Mr. Daly, a local from Crithen Gifford, and Kipps learns that the town is surrounded by its own fog that will appear very suddenly. As Kipps and Mr. Daly continue to talk, Mr. Daly does not reveal a lot of information about Mrs. Drablow and hardly comments on Kipps's business in town. Upon arrival at the inn, Kipps learns that the entire town tends to avoid the conversation about Eel Marsh House and Mrs. Drablow. So the funeral is not expected to have a lot of attendees, and Kipps discovers a lot of mystery around the estate and its owner. Kipps then meets with the local solicitor, Mr. Jerome, who accompanies him to the funeral the next day. Mr. Jerome reveals that he will not be going to Eel Marsh House with Kipps, but he's arranged for Mr. Keckwick, a local man, to take him to the estate on like horse and carriage. During the funeral, Kipps sees a woman dressed in black with a veil covering her face. Kipps recognizes her beauty, but also thinks that this woman must have a disease due to her very sickly appearance. So she's like beautiful and kind of put together, but she looks messed up. When like bulging eyes, really pale, just like kind of horrifying. Yeah. When Kipps asks Mr. Jerome about the woman, Mr. Jerome panics and refuses to talk about it. So already it's like, hold on, what? Like, no one will talk about the house. They won't talk about Mrs. Drablow. And then he sees this woman. He's like, who's that? Mr. Jerome's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So on the way to Eel Marsh House, and remember, no one who's supposed to go with him is going with him. They just like ask some local guy to take him, Mr. Keckwick. Yeah. Mr. Keckwick tells Kipps that he will be stuck at the estate until the tide goes back out that evening, since it's situated on an island. So the tide comes in and you're stuck because the path in is covered in water. So he's like, you're stuck there. At the house, Kipps spends some time exploring the property and discovers an old family cemetery and sees the woman in black again, which causes him to panic and run into the house. Later on, the fog gathers around the home, and he hears the sound of a horse and cart falling into the marsh and the screams of a young child, but the fog is too thick to see anything outside. So Kipps hides away in the house until Mr. Keckwick picks him up later that night. So he's at the house by himself, so there's like kind of nothing he can do. Back at the inn, away from the estate, Kip sees the woman in black in his nightmares and feels a sense of dread over returning to the estate. He talks to Mr. Daly about how to proceed with his job because he doesn't want to disappoint Mr. Bentley or his fiancée Stella. And due to the large amount of documents that Mrs. Drablow acquired, he plans to stay the night at Eelmarsh House. So Mr. Daly loans him Spider, his dog, for company and protection. Over the next several days, I know, Kipps discovers letters between Mrs. Drablow and Janet Humphrey, her sister, over a young boy named Nathaniel. So it's like the mystery just keeps like unfolding. During the days, the estate stays quiet, but at night, Kipps wakes up frequently and is overwhelmed by fear. He's awoken by spiders growling at a locked door, and Kipps hears again a child screaming when the fog comes in. He also hears a rocking chair moving in the hidden room that he's found. The door spikes interest in Kipps, and he decides to go into the room, which ends up being a nursery. And it's a very creepy nursery at that. One early morning, Spider and Kipps are outside when a whistle causes Spider to run out into the marsh. Spider begins to drown, and Kipps runs after him, pulling him out of the marsh just before they both become trapped. So Kipps looks up at the house and sees the woman in black staring at him from the nursery.
Oh, no.
And Kipps is so scared, he passes out. Like, he gets into the house, passes out for hours, and wakes to find Mr. Daly has arrived at the estate. So Mr. Daly, Kipps is, like, in a state, and Mr. Daly suggests that he leave. So they pack up his belongings and the documents he sorted from Mrs. Drablow, at least the ones he got through, and he finishes reading the letters between Mrs. Drablow and Janet Humphrey. So Mrs. Drablow adopted Janet's son, Nathaniel, and despite Janet's unwillingness to give her son away. So she took her baby, essentially. She was overcome with grief and sadness, which worsened when Nathaniel died from drowning in the marsh due to an accident with a horse-drawn cart. Mr. Daly also reveals that the sighting of the woman in black, who is now known to be Janet Humphrey, is followed by the death of one of the local children. Kipps worries if his experience with the woman has actually caused the death of another child, but Mr. Daly says, no, this has not happened. What you heard, the child screaming, was Nathaniel. It's like replaying his death over and over again in the marsh in the shadow of the fog. This is where the huge spoiler is. So okay. I would say fast forward like a minute, and then you could go back if we're already past it. Okay. After recovering from almost drowning in the marsh, he goes back to London and marries Stella. They have a son, Joseph. And this is like in the future. So one day, the family is spending time outside. Stella and Joseph are riding around in a horse-drawn cart in the middle of a beautiful sunny day in the park. And all of a sudden, flash, the woman in black. She's standing right beside his family, jumps in front of the horse, essentially, spooks the horse, and they have a fatal crash in the horse and carriage.
Oh, no.
So all this time, he's thinking it's just this town. Like, it's this town that's haunted by this woman, but it's not contained to the town. And because he got involved and was helping Mrs. Drablow, he wasn't safe.
Got it to him. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a twist.
So creepy. Like, so creepy. And the way that they do it on stage, because they'll black out, flash her on stage, and black out again, and then the lights come up and she's gone. And you're just like, what the fuck?
I can imagine.
It's spooky. It's really spooky. It's playing... I saw it with my dad a couple years ago, I think, around the holidays. Oh. It's playing again. In the East Bay, and I'm like kind of tempted to go see it again.
Yeah.
So
why not?
It
sounds really good.
That is The Woman in Black. Yeah, very good. Okay. This is I have two more quickie little stories, and these actually are not no sleep stories. I figured we would do a couple real creepy Christmases.
Yeah.
So this is from KXY dance. As many of you probably know, last night was Christmas Eve. Since I'm the oldest sibling, I'm forced to quote-unquote play Santa and lay out the presents underneath the tree at exactly 2 a.m. I've done this every year since I was 16, so I'm used to the job. After my dad and I finished wrapping the last things to go in the stockings, we went to bed. And I usually lie in bed until 1:50 because if I set an alarm for 2, I might wake my sisters up. So I was on my phone, scrolling social media, watching YouTube, all that kind of stuff. Well, 1:30 comes around and I'm getting ready to get out of bed to grab the presents from the basement where all of the gifts are hidden. I start lugging the gifts upstairs, unload them, and then go lay down. A few hours later, we all wake up and begin unwrapping presents. We were almost all done when my younger sister began to cry. We asked her what's wrong, and she kept repeating, "Santa hates me," and we were all very confused. She then points to the most recent present that she had opened. The China doll that quote-unquote Santa bought her was empty. All that was there was the empty box. Now, this doll was in a plastic box, the kind that you have to cut open, and I know this because I was the one who wrapped the present. I look at my parents, and we all three are just sort of like looking at each other like, who took the doll, without saying that in front of the little kids. So after the whole doll fiasco, we just decided to buy a new one and pretend that Santa accidentally dropped it outside when flying to the top of our house. Well, I just walked into my room and began to put my new Christmas presents away when I noticed something weird. The China doll was laying in the top of my closet. I ran to my parents and began freaking out about how it's not funny to prank me like that when I help out so much and blah, blah, blah. They had no idea what I was talking about. I think I'm ready to burn this doll.
Yes. Burn it down.
Like if the box had to be cut open, it's so weird. It's so weird.
And that's a real story. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay. And one final story. This is from Wendigo Finder WA, which obviously we're going to talk about cryptids. So this takes place over the course of summer into winter. So I was thinking about this, thinking about a snowy mountain town, just spooky nighttime, dark vibes with the snow falling. Okay. So they say, I posted this a while ago and deleted it, but I really want opinions now on what we saw. So reposting. Okay. My boyfriend, best friend, and I always go out and look for scary shit to see. I'm obsessed with Wendigos. My best friend is obsessed with horror stuff. And my boyfriend is a superstitious type. So now the backgrounds are done. Yeah. Perfect trio. We live in a small mountain town. I say small, but we're the second largest city in our state, the largest being Seattle. We have this town mountain. Let's call it Spooky Boy Mountain for anonymity reasons. It's about an hour to an hour and a half drive just to get to the single road that will bring you there. So we stop off at a gas station, fuel up, and grab road snacks, and we're on our way. We get to this road with no incident besides our radio cutting out and our phone's not working for about a mile. And then in parentheses, they say, I've had weirder shit happen. I could probably write you a book on the shit I've seen. The road is one way in, one way out. And on our way in, this white truck starts to follow our car. And we get a little bit freaked out, but then it passes us and continues going up the mountain. It's creepy. It's quiet. The trees hang over the sky. And all around, we're just getting bad vibes. We have no music downloaded, so we're trying to make jokes and lighten the mood, considering it's pitch fucking black outside. Even the houses that are up there have no lights on. We get to this one house that has bottles tied to trees. And if you didn't know, that's an old trick to ward off evil. What is Dave saying?
Sorry. He's looking for one of the dogs. He's like, where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Oh my God, I could just hear the lilting of his voice. I'm like, what is he saying? Okay. Houses are creepy, dark. The road is creepy and dark. there's a house that has bottles tied to trees around it. And apparently this is an old trick to ward off evil. And they also have a cross with deer antlers stuck to it and what looks like maybe blood, although it could have been paint because it was bright, and on occasions blood dries. It usually turns almost black, as most people know. Kind of creeped out. We keep driving, eventually getting to the top of the mountain. So now the top of the mountain has a cafe and a place to walk around as it doubles as a national park. We see that white truck just sitting there with the headlights off until we get up there. Being like anyone else, we quickly turned around and sped off. It took us about 45 minutes to get up to the mountain, and we got a quarter of the way down in about 5. When we started going back to the speed limit, we smelled something that we hadn't when we'd driven up. So they get up there, they're like kind of spooked. They see that truck, they're like, okay, this is just like weird, we're just gonna leave. So they turn around, they're like flooring it down this mountain, and they get a whiff of this very distinctive death, decay kind of smell.
Yeah.
So this poster says, now this got me a little bit excited, as it said that Wendigos can carry this smell along, as they also have ties into wearing deer skulls. So I'm watching the trees, hoping to get a glimpse of one. Well, we didn't, but that smell was very fucking distinctive, and we would have noticed it when we were driving up. So we're driving down, and I'm looking at the clock. It took us about half the time that it did to drive up in order to drive down. And at the time, I thought it was just that weird trick of the brain when you're going to a new place, where as in a new place, it seems like things kind of go slower because you're getting used to your surroundings. So we drop my best friend off at her house, and my boyfriend and I go home. I didn't really get any sleep because it was just, the whole day was just weird and bad vibes. 2 days later, we went back during the day. We couldn't find the house or the cross, but we found 2 deer with chest cavities ripped out. Yeah. If I wasn't in shock at what I saw, I would have taken pictures. Same thing happened. It took us almost an hour to get up the mountain and 15 minutes to get down. I timed us, and we were going the speed limit in both directions, and it was the same speed limit. So I thought it was just my mind tricking me because this time it's in daylight. But we got to the parking lot of the cafe and decided to actually walk around, and we found abandoned car keys that didn't seem to belong to a car and a random shoe. The car most likely got towed, and the shoe could have been a crackhead's, who knows, but it just added to the eerie vibe. 2 months later, we go back. Our best friend is moving to Seattle, and we want a final goodbye. This is during the night, so we're hyped listening to scary stories because we had some in my downloads. As we start going up the mountain, we see nothing at first, but the house and the cross we slowly drive by, trying to get a good look at this cross, and yeah, it was blood. But why didn't we see it during the day when we came? It's like the house only shows up at night. So that's something we're still trying to figure out. We continue driving up with no incident. When we get to the parking lot, we turn around. I look at the walking area, and I notice something moving on the trail bridge. I point it out now, mind you, this thing looks like Vicar Amelia's beast form in fucking Bloodborne, but smaller. I don't know what that is, but big. So I think it's a tree branch or something, and point it out to see if I'm tripping. Nope. They see it too. A whole ass wolf man looking thing walking on 2 fucking legs. We quickly got the fuck out of there and went back to the city. And since then, the boyfriend and I have had dreams of us going back there during the snow, but we hit a tree. And we had this dream the same exact night. I only mentioned it to him after he said something first.
Oh my God.
I think it's Krampus. Christmas Krampus! Learn your rules. You've got to learn your rules. If you don't, you'll be eaten in your sleep.
Oh,
Merry Ma.
That's scary.
Stay safe from the Krampus.
Yeah, and they better not ever go there again.
Right. They're like, let's go back. Let's keep going back. Like, I think the blood cross should be your sign.
Yes. It's like that.
What if the Wendigo lives at that house?
Right. It could be. Because, yeah, scary. I don't know,
man. I don't think that was good.
It could,
Maybe
yeah.
that's the
Wendigo,
Krampus's North America
Krampus.
location.
I know. We must have
From
a Krampus.
Austria, but we need one in North America, so
Yes.
maybe
That
that's
could
where
be
he
it.
lives.
On Spooky Boy Mountain.
Greater Seattle area, Spooky Boy Mountain.
That would
Spooky
suit.
Boy Mountain, Washington.
That would suit him. I like it.
Yeah, it would suit him, Spooky Boy Mountain. Well,
Oh, man.
that's a wrap, kids.
Love it.
And we'll be back
When?
on...
I don't even know.
We'll be back in a week. We'll be back in a week.
Okay. Oh, perfect. We're back on sketch.
Yeah. Because, yeah, we'll be back the day after Crema. So...
Perfect.
Stay spooky this week in the lead up to Crema. Stay safe from Krampus.
Yes.
And honestly, hope you don't see the woman in black. Ooh.
Yeah. Nope. No. Or any Victorian ghosts. Unless you want to.
Victorian phantoms.
Yes.
I want some sort of like millennial ghost. It's like, what's the Wi-Fi?
I know, we're still...
What's your Wi-Fi password?
Waiting for that to come.
Yeah, 100%. Can't wait. I kind of want to watch the new Conjuring movie tonight. Is that crazy?
No.
I haven't seen it yet.
Is it out on Netflix?
I think so. I think it's buyable somewhere.
Okay. Why
Probably
not?
YouTube. Probably YouTube. Nice and spooky, you know, get in the mood for a little... I don't know, it does have kind of a... Don't those movies kind of have like a bit of a holiday feel to you?
No.
No? Is that crazy?
I've never seen them though, so maybe.
I think because it has such like a Catholic kind of vibe, you know? Because it's like exorcism and demons, and that to me inherently feels like kind of cozy and like... I mean, not the demons are cozy, but you know what I mean, though?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah.
And it's like centered on a family in their home.
Yeah, in their home.
I get it.
I don't know what this one's about, but I'll find out and I'll report back.
Yeah. I'm like in the office when Aaron is like, I like the beginnings of horror movies when the family is happy and together. That's me.
Not possessed by fucking Beelzebub. Yeah, fair enough.
No.
You know what? It takes two. There has to be one best friend who likes horror and one best friend who's like, nah, dog.
No. I have, no.
I have.
I can't invite that in.
Yeah,
because,
it's fair.
Yeah.
It's
I
too
still
much.
see the freaking Paranormal Activity that you made me watch. I can watch the movie in my mind. It's crazy. I don't know why my brain
that
does
one
these
scene
things.
or the whole thing. That one scene.
I can honestly watch all of it, but especially that one scene.
Yeah, sorry. I can't remember if I was watching it for the first time too. I think I was, so I didn't know that was coming. I would have warned you. You know I would have warned you.
I know.
I would have been like, plug your ears, Amy.
Yeah. I think it was when it first came out, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I think it was Paranormal Activity 2 or 3, the one where the guy's back breaks. So
number 3 for sure.
Amy doesn't like when it's number 3 for sure. Amy doesn't like when I crack my knuckles. So you can imagine how that went over not well. I thought she was gonna pass out.
Also, anyone who has seen Stranger Things, the most recent one, not the one that's about to come out, obviously. Or I guess at the time of this, it will be out.
Yeah.
But have you seen it?
Season 4.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
I can't remember what happens.
So it's Vecna.
Well, there's Chrissy.
Yeah, but all of his victims have that same thing.
Oh, that's right. Where they float up.
And then it's like it'll show a close up of like the guy's neck breaking, and then the jaw goes the other direction, and it's like I'm gonna faint. I love
You're like, I'm engaged with this fucking content, but stop.
I love Stranger Things, but I cannot watch these scenes.
No.
It's like hurting my being.
Yeah, that's honestly fair. That is actually very fair. Well shit, you little freaks. We love you. Yeah, and we'll be back after Krima and into the new year.
Yay.
And until then, stay spooky.
Stay spooky. Bye.
Bye.